There's something no one ever tells you about Gemini. It's not written in horoscopes, not found in cold astrological analyses, and never mentioned in love stories that claim to understand this sign completely. Because the most dangerous part of a Gemini doesn't lie in their anger or in their sharp words, it lies in the silence between two ever-moving souls. People often see Gemini's cheerfulness, wit, and eloquence, and assume they're easy to read, easy to approach, easy to understand. But in truth, what you're seeing is only a reflection, not their true self. Inside every Gemini exist two parallel worlds. One bright and breezy like a summer wind, the other deep and endless like a moonless night. And what makes them dangerous isn't that they pretend, it's that they understand you better than you understand yourself. Gemini doesn't need to shout to prove their strength. One look, one smile, or one seemingly casual comment is enough to keep you thinking for nights. They don't attack, they analyze. They don't seek revenge, they observe. And when they fall silent, you begin to hear the echo of your own thoughts. The scariest thing about Gemini is their ability to laugh while they're hurting, to love while letting go, to disappear while still making you feel their presence in every empty space. They are the wind of intellect, but also the storm of emotion, gentle yet fierce, bright yet shadowed, near yet distant. Today, we won't talk about Gemini's charm, but about the 9 signs that make them the most dangerous zodiac sign few dare to admit. Not because they wish to hurt anyone, but because they embody the power of a mind that no one can tame. If you're watching this video, perhaps a part of your soul also belongs to that world where words are spells, and silence is the voice of the soul. So, before we begin, leave a small comment to share how you feel about the energy of Gemini, and don't forget to like and subscribe to join this journey together. Now, pour yourself a cup of tea or your favorite coffee and sit with me, because today's story isn't just about Gemini, it's about you. 1ATV. Intelligence is a double-edged sword. There's one thing few people understand about Gemini. They don't just listen to reply. They listen to decode. While others are still caught up in emotions, Gemini has already read the rhythm in your voice, the tremor in your eyes, and even the silence you try to hide. They are not just intelligent, they embody multidimensional thinking, blending logic with emotion, reason with intuition. And that's what makes their intellect a double-edged weapon, both healing and destructive. Gemini observes, remembers, and connects faster than anyone else. To them, a conversation is not just an exchange, it's a map of energy, where every word reveals a fragment of the soul. They use language like an artist, carefully arranging words into a rhythm that makes others open up. But behind that wit and quick mind lies a consciousness that never stops moving, never stops analyzing, never stops going beyond what you can imagine. The bright side of Gemini is their ability to inspire and illuminate truth. They can help you face what you've been avoiding, or name the emotions you didn't know how to express. But their darker side is their power to strike right at your weak spot with truth. With just one sentence, one smile, they can break someone down, not out of cruelty, but because they see too clearly. For Gemini, intelligence is a blade with 2 sides, one for healing, one for testing. When they speak, it's never just words, it's a mirror. And if you're hiding something, trust me, they already know. They're simply waiting in silence to see whether you'll choose honesty or keep wearing the mask. What makes Gemini dangerous is that they don't need to raise their voice or prove anything. One look from them can make someone feel exposed. They read you, even when you say nothing, and that's a power few people are brave enough to face. Life lesson. Be careful how you lie to a Gemini, because they already know. They're just waiting to see what you'll say next. And if you're hearing this, perhaps you already understand. The truth never fears the light. If you've ever met a Gemini who made you feel both admiration and fear because of their intelligence, leave a comment below to share your thoughts. And don't forget to like and subscribe to join me on this journey into the Gemini soul, where intelligence isn't just power, but destiny. 2 words. The smile that hides 2 worlds. What makes Gemini the hardest to understand isn't how much they talk, it's how they can smile through the storms inside their heart. You see someone cheerful, charming, and quick-witted, but few realize that behind that smile lies a parallel world, one filled with questions, worries, and unhealed wounds they've never let anyone see. Gemini can smile while they're hurting, comfort others while they're falling apart inside. They can sit beside you, listen to your tears, tell you to let go, all while their own heart quietly breaks. They're so good at turning strength into a perfect disguise that the world believes they're always fine. But the truth is, no one hides pain better than a Gemini, because within them live 2 souls, one that exists to love, to connect, to laugh, and to light up the world, and another that exists to observe, stay silent, and endure. One half wants to embrace life, the other wants to disappear into the quiet night. They crave to be understood, yet fear being seen too deeply. And that contradiction makes them emotionally dangerous. No one ever truly knows what they're thinking, feeling, or fighting inside. They're not pretending. They're protecting themselves. They know not everyone can grasp the thoughts that spiral in their mind, so they choose to smile as a safe way to communicate. Their smile keeps the world in balance, but sometimes that very smile is a silent cry for help. The heartbreaking truth is that when Gemini smiles in silence, few notice they're having a deep conversation with their own loneliness. No one sees that behind those bright eyes is a soul screaming to be truly seen, not through masks, not through roles. Gemini is not dangerous because they're fake, but because they can separate emotion from reason. They can say, "I'm fine," with a voice as light as air, while inside, a quiet storm is raging. And if you love a Gemini, you'll soon realize a smile doesn't always mean happiness. Sometimes, it's their way of saying, "Don't worry about me," even when they're the one longing for someone to hold their hand. Life lesson. If a Gemini smiles in silence, listen closely, their soul might be screaming. Because sometimes, the danger doesn't lie in what they say, but in what they choose not to. If you've ever seen a Gemini smile with sadness in their eyes, leave a comment and share your thoughts. And if you've ever learned to hide pain behind your smile, hit like and subscribe, because maybe today the universe is sending you a sign that you're not alone. Sandiyu, a mind that never rests. If you've ever spent enough time with a Gemini, you'll realize they are never truly silent. Even when their mouth stops speaking, their mind keeps spinning, connecting, analyzing. They can sit still, eyes gazing into the distance, while inside them a universe of thoughts continues to move restlessly. For Gemini, the world never stops. They hear what others miss, sense energy before it becomes action, and think in 10 directions while you're still considering one. That's why Gemini is often misunderstood as inconsistent. Not because they lack commitment, but because their mind is always in motion. They see so many possibilities that staying in one place for too long feels unnatural. Every emotion, every encounter, every story becomes a fragment they weave into a larger, deeper picture. But it's that very motion that makes them dangerous. No one can predict what they'll think or do next. They can be laughing and talking one moment, then suddenly go quiet and distant, not because they're angry, but because they've drifted into another realm of thought. Gemini lives in two worlds, one vibrant and external, and another within where every thought carries weight, every emotion is examined, every event has meaning. Gemini can turn pain into philosophy, failure into fuel, and wounds into stories that captivate others. They rewrite their own history each time they fall. While others drown in the past, they use it to understand themselves, people, and existence on a deeper level. But what makes them truly special and lonely is that they understand too much. When you see too deeply, it becomes harder to trust. When you perceive every layer of a situation, safety becomes an illusion. Their mind doesn't rest even in sleep. It keeps dreaming, questioning, and writing dialogues that never took place. Gemini is dangerous because they stay awake even in their dreams. They never accept something just because it sounds right. They will ask, why, until their soul finds the truth. And once they do, they can never pretend they don't know. Life lesson. You can't deceive someone who questions everything, because Gemini's mind doesn't seek to win, it seeks to understand. And once they understand, no lie can survive in their world. If you've ever had nights where your mind refused to stop thinking, leave a comment and share your thoughts. Who knows, somewhere in your words, another Gemini might find themselves reflected. And don't forget to like and subscribe, so we can continue exploring the secrets only Gemini truly understands. 4. The silence of the twin mind. When a Gemini stops talking, it's not peace, it's the soul retreating. They were once the loudest voice in the room, the one who made every conversation come alive, the one who could make sadness feel as light as air. But when Gemini goes quiet, when those lips stop telling stories, when that sparkle in their eyes fades, that's when you should know something inside them has broken. When they're hurt, Gemini doesn't need to argue. They don't shout to prove who's right or wrong. They simply withdraw their energy from the connection. Little by little, gently, yet decisively. They don't seek to win. They seek to protect themselves. And that silence, though invisible, carries more power than any accusation. It makes you start to hear the sound of absence, the echo of their presence fading from every moment. For Gemini, silence is never weakness. It's the final wall between them and the world. After they've spoken, explained, trusted, and been misunderstood, they choose silence as a ritual of release. Because Gemini understands that sometimes words lose their meaning when the heart has been misread too many times. The danger of Gemini doesn't lie in what they say, but in what they don't. When they fall silent, they're observing you stepping back to see whether you'll notice the loss approaching. And by the time you finally do, they've already gone too far to return. Gemini's silence isn't a loud ending. It's the moment a soul slips away in absolute quiet. No goodbyes, no traces, just their energy lingering in the room, in your memories, in dreams you can't escape. You'll search for them in other conversations, other smiles, but nothing will vibrate on the same frequency. And perhaps that's what makes Gemini truly dangerous. They disappear without a sound, yet the echo of their absence never stops ringing inside you. Life lesson. When a Gemini goes silent, it's not the end of the story. It's a warning that you no longer belong in their world. They don't say goodbye, because they've already spoken everything through their departure. If you've ever felt a Gemini leave in silence, share your thoughts in the comments below. Someone out there might need to read your words today. And don't forget to like and subscribe, because sometimes a single small act is enough to connect two souls that understand each other across the crowd. Wudi. Words that can heal or destroy. Gemini is a master of words. They don't just speak, they paint with sentences, touch with phrases, awaken with their voice. In Gemini's world, every word has its own soul. They can mend a broken heart with just a few gentle lines, yet they can also silence someone forever with a single, honest truth. They understand that words carry energy that can either heal or destroy. For Gemini, a sentence is never just sound. It's an emotional current, a heartbeat between two souls. When they speak from the mind, but when they feel from the soul. And when those two merge, their words become a kind of magic no one can escape. Gemini can make you believe in yourself again after one conversation. They can reignite hope in souls that thought their light had gone out. But at the same time, if betrayed or hurt, they can speak words that you'll never forget, not because they want to cause pain, but because the truth from their lips is often too sharp for fragile hearts to bear. The danger lies in this. Gemini knows exactly which words will make you melt and which ones will make you break. They read you, feel your energy, and mirror it back with language as sharp and luminous as a blade. Beautiful, yet dangerous. Sometimes they unintentionally hurt others simply because they're too honest, or because they voice truths that others aren't ready to face. But often, it's their own words that wound them most. Because they understand every meaning, feel every layer of energy behind what's said, and that makes it impossible for them to simply let go. Their mind gets trapped in a web of emotions where every word is a thread, every memory a knot. That's why Gemini often chooses silence once they realize words can become weapons. They know not every conversation needs a winner sometimes. Silence is the only way to protect their soul from further pain. Life lesson. Gemini's words are magic. If you're lucky, they'll heal you. If not, they'll teach you a lifelong lesson. In their world, every word carries energy, and once spoken, it leaves an imprint that can never be erased from the listener's heart. If you've ever felt that one sentence changed you forever, made you stronger, wiser, or awakened, share your story in the comments. Someone out there might need to hear it to find their light again. And don't forget to like and subscribe to keep exploring the mysteries of Gemini souls, where words are not just sounds, but the voice of the spirit itself. 6. Their memory never forgets. People often say Gemini forgives easily, forgets easily, moves on easily. But that's only what you see on the surface. Inside a Gemini's mind, everything that has ever happened is recorded in detail, like pages in a journal that can never be erased. They may smile when recalling an old memory, but don't mistake that for forgetting. They've simply chosen not to speak of it anymore. Gemini has a strange kind of memory, not of dates or details, but of emotions. They remember every look, every tone of voice, every feeling you made them experience. They remember the moment you earned their trust, and the exact second that trust began to crack. They don't store events. They store energy, and when the energy that once felt warm turns cold, Gemini senses it long before you say a word. What makes them dangerous is that they don't need revenge. They don't need to prove you wrong. They simply withdraw quietly, gradually pulling back their emotions, their attention, their light. And when you finally notice they're gone, there won't be a fight. No dramatic goodbye, just a silence that haunts you long after. Because once a Gemini is disappointed, they don't return. They won't say, "I'm hurt." They won't cry in front of you. They'll simply stop being there. They'll still smile when they see you, but their eyes won't linger the way they used to. Their voice will remain gentle, but the frequency of connection will be gone. They're still themselves, except you no longer exist in their world. Gemini forgives not because they're weak, but because they understand too much. They know everyone carries wounds, and sometimes the pain they receive is simply the result of another soul that hasn't healed. But forgiveness doesn't mean forgetting. In their silence, they still remember. Behind their smile, they still keep their distance. And that's the gentle danger of Gemini. They don't punish you. They let time do it. They let you feel the emptiness they left behind, the chill that comes when their light no longer surrounds you. And when that moment comes, you'll understand. Their memory never forgot you. They just chose not to carry you into their future. Life lesson. Don't assume Gemini forgets. They simply stop mentioning it because they already understand. When they go silent, it means your story in their heart has closed. If you've ever lost a Gemini, or if you've ever been unable to forget one, share your thoughts in the comments. Someone out there might be holding a memory just like yours. And don't forget to like and subscribe so we can continue learning how to cherish souls that know how to love, remember, and let go with grace. 70. Transformation is their power. For Gemini, change isn't pretense, it's the natural language of their soul. They can shift their energy, image, tone, and emotion in an instant, not to hide, but to fully live each moment life offers. One day, they may be the radiant light inspiring the world. The next, they may withdraw into quiet observation, drifting like a soft breeze. And that is their mesmerizing unpredictability. Gemini embodies eternal motion. Within them live two forces, one that wants to soar and one that wants to rest. They don't change because they're lost. They change because they know they are everything. They can adapt to any environment, connect with anyone, walk into any world, and leave it without losing themselves. What makes them dangerous is precisely this ability. They can blend into any energy, understand anyone's emotions, and at times become invisible among the crowd. People are drawn to their flexibility but also confused by their elusiveness. They are like the wind, you can't hold them. Yet, you can always feel their presence. Gemini doesn't change to please others. They change because they refuse to be confined by anyone's expectations. They know that every version of themselves is a lesson, an experience, a step closer to their truest soul. Every transformation is a rebirth, a release from old labels and limits the world tried to place upon them. Many fear change, but not Gemini. They see it as the miracle of existence, because only through change do they feel truly alive. Only by shedding old layers can they hear the inner voice of the universe calling them forward. And that's why no one can control them. You can love them, understand them, but you can't trap them in a fixed image. They were born to move, to explore, to never be chained by the version the world wants them to be. Life lesson. Gemini doesn't change to please you. They change to stay true to the deepest part of themselves. Their soul is the wind, and the wind is only free when it flies. If you've ever felt like you've changed too much and feared others wouldn't understand you, share your thoughts in the comments. You might realize that very change is the greatest gift the universe has given you. And don't forget to like and subscribe so that every time you return, we can keep exploring new, freer, and more authentic versions of yourself. Barju. They reflect your truth. There's something few people realize when they're close to a Gemini. You're not just seeing them. you're seeing yourself. Like a mirror of the universe, Gemini reflects everything you carry within, your beliefs, your fears, your light, and even the shadows you thought you'd hidden so well. They don't do it intentionally, but somehow, their presence compels you to face yourself, both the parts you're proud of and the ones you deny. They have a natural ability to read people's energy. When you smile, they know whether it's genuine or a disguise. When you say, "I'm fine," they hear the silence between the words. Gemini doesn't need to try to understand anyone they feel with their soul. And that's what makes them both magnetic and unsettling. Because in front of them, you simply can't hide. Gemini doesn't attack, they don't have to. They reflect. They become the version of yourself you project into the world, allowing you to see yourself through their eyes. If you love them with sincerity, they become a mirror that reveals your brightest side. But if you come to them with deceit, they'll reflect the darkness you bring. No accusation, no anger, just silence that forces you to face what you've been avoiding. And that's what makes Gemini dangerous. Not because they want to hurt, but because truth lives within their energy. They can't exist in falsehood. And so, when you're near them, you're compelled to be honest with yourself. Maybe that's why people both love and fear Gemini. They make others feel exposed, not because they judge, but because they see. But not everyone is ready to be reflected. Some walk away because they can't bear the light. It's too real, too deep, too precise. Others stay because they understand that to be mirrored by a Gemini is to awaken. Life lesson. If you're afraid of being seen, Gemini will make hiding impossible. They don't expose you with words. Their presence alone is enough to make you look within. If you've ever met someone like that, someone who made you want to run away but also couldn't stop thinking about, share your story in the comments below. You may have crossed paths with a Gemini, and if you recognize that reflective energy within yourself, like and subscribe, because maybe the universe is reminding you that the light of Gemini also lives within you, waiting to be awakened. 9. When they disappear, it's an awakening. Gemini doesn't leave in anger. They don't need to shout, nor do they hurt others to prove they've had enough. They simply withdraw in silence so gently that you don't even realize the last moment between you has already passed. And then one day, you wake up, look around, and find the world strangely dim, as if the light that once surrounded you has gone out. The truth is, the world hasn't changed, Gemini has. When a Gemini walks away, they don't come back. Not because they're cold, but because they've already moved through every stage of holding on, explaining, and believing. They've tried to understand, to forgive, to find reasons to stay. But when their soul finally recognizes that the love or connection no longer resonates with their frequency, they choose to leave quietly, without blame, simply to protect their peace. What makes them different is that when they go, they take no resentment with them, only lessons. They don't run away. They are reborn. Because Gemini never truly disappears, they return to themselves, shedding the energies that no longer belong, and emerge again as a new version, stronger, freer, brighter. Those who once had a Gemini in their life often don't realize their value until silence falls. When Gemini was there, they were the breeze that carried laughter, the light that made everything vivid. But when they're gone, you start to see how many spaces they quietly filled. And that absence becomes the greatest lesson. You'll never again take the presence of such a soul for granted. For Gemini, disappearing isn't revenge, it's awakening. For them and for you, they understand that sometimes leaving is the last act of love they can offer. Because when they let go, they're saying, I choose peace over proving. And when they are reborn, they no longer need you, not because they hate you, but because they've found themselves. Life lesson. If a Gemini has disappeared from your life, thank them, for they just taught you the value of truth. The truth about love, freedom, and the reality that losing someone isn't always the end. Sometimes, it's the beginning of growth. If you've ever felt that losing a Gemini, or being the one who had to leave in silence, share your story in the comments. Someone out there might need your words to learn how to let go more gently. And don't forget to like and subscribe, because this journey of awakening, we'll continue it together. After all, you see, Gemini isn't dangerous because they change, but because they understand too deeply, feel too intensely, and love too truthfully. Within them always exist two worlds, one filled with the light of liveliness, and the other with the shadows of reflection. It's this contrast that gives them a power both mesmerizing and mysterious, a power that fascinates people and even makes the universe itself take notice. This video isn't just about Gemini, it's about you. It's a reminder that intelligence, emotion, and transformation are not weaknesses, but gifts of awakened souls. Every time you love, get hurt, or let go, you're learning how to balance the two sides within yourself, just like Gemini does. The greatest lesson Gemini teaches us is this: don't be afraid of your own complexity. Don't shrink yourself just to be loved. Embrace both your light and your shadow, because only then can you truly live. Like Gemini, you were born to change, to reflect, to understand, and ultimately, to fly. If you feel connected to Gemini's energy, their intellect, freedom, and emotional depth, leave a comment below and share what you've realized after watching this video. Perhaps your words will reach a soul that needs to hear them today. And if this video has touched you, don't forget to like, subscribe, and turn on the notification bell so you won't miss the next cosmic messages the universe has for you. Because sometimes, just one sentence, one quiet moment, or one video like this can awaken the light you forgot existed within yourself. See you again on the next journey where the universe has something truly special to say just for you.